I fell and lost to the war, shot me dead. I was lost and I said to the voices.
Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a completion makeup look using the Jaclyn palette again. This is really just going to be focused on the Jaclyn palette. I'm going to be using the blues. I'm going to be using these colors down here. And yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens. If you want to watch how this makeup look turns out, then just keep on watching. Alright, so I'm going to try and speed through my makeup process. So not my entire makeup process, but just my face. And then when it comes to my eyes, I will go in depth a little bit more just so my video isn't so long. This is mostly drugstore pretty much. I'm not really sure, I didn't pay attention to the brushes, but most of the things that I'm using are drugstore. And I really pulled out some things that I've been wanting to use in my tutorials and as well as every day for my makeup, and I just haven't been using them. So I'm going to be using those. Anyways, to get started, I always put some moisturizer on my lips as well as wash my face, moisturize my face. So for primer today, I'm using the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser and just putting that in my problem areas. I rub it in and then I will pat it in afterwards. For foundation today, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. I go in the same way I go in with all of my other foundations, and I use a brush and then I'll go in with my beauty blender to pick up any excess product. And for that, I'm going to be using my Morphe M439 brush. This has quickly become my favorite foundation brush. This foundation is great for anybody that has oily skin. It's not overly matte, but it does work. Like, I have some problems with some foundations not doing its job, but this does do its job. But it still makes you look human, you know, like healthy. And for concealer today, I'm going to be using two of the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser concealers. One is more pinky and one is my actual color. So I'm going to be using the shade Light Pale. So I'm going to be using the shade Light and then the shade Brightener, which is like a more pinky. And I don't like going in with the sponge that's on here, because when I do that, I feel like my concealer over here gets like super dotty, like it just becomes dots in it. So I like to go in with just any flat brush. This one is a BH Cosmetics brush, just a flat brush, and just put it on there. And so I take it right off of the sponge. This sponge is about to break. And I just paint it on the way that I need it. Again, I don't use too much concealer. I never really have, but for those of you that do, I don't use a lot. Especially with this concealer. And then blend it with your beauty blender. I do one eye at a time, so that way, I need to open up my new beauty blender. I do one eye at a time, so that way my concealer, in case if it dries really quickly, I won't have that problem of struggling trying to blend it out. And before going in with the pinky, the Brightener one, I'm going to go in with the light concealer and go over my face as well. And then I'll be going in with my Brightener and putting just a dab underneath my eyes, just to literally do its job and brighten. Set my under eyes, I'm going to be using the E.L.F High Definition Under Eye Setting Powder and taking my Real Techniques contour brush. I just pour some in the lid and take it from the lid. I bounce it around so that way I don't put too much on the lid, on the brush. Pat it off and just pat it on your eyes. I set my under eye fairly quickly so that way the concealer doesn't settle in the creases and fine lines. And then for liquid bronzer today, I'm going to be using the Temptu Shimmer Bronzer. It's liquid. I got this in a BoxyCharm. And I'm just going to put a couple drops on the back of my hand. Not too much, just like that much. Take the tip of my beauty blender and just put it where I want it. So up here. I'm going to grab a little bit more because I didn't grab it enough. Not too much though. So here's where I want it. Here's where I want it. And just blend it in slightly with my beauty blender, and then I'll go back in with a brush over here. To set that bronzer, I'm going to be using the NYX matte bronzer in the shade Light. It looks like this, and I'm just going to use that same exact brush and go over where I put the liquid bronzer. For contour, I'm going to be using my Morphe M523 brush as well as my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and again I use this just to chisel out the cheeks a little bit. And then I go in with my contour. The Maybelline Fit Me powder in the shade 220. Maybelline pressed powder in the shade 220. I haven't used this in a while, but I remember it being good to me, so. My Wet n Wild contouring palette in the shade Dolce de Leche. This, if you're looking for a great contour palette from the drugstore, this is your go-to. I don't know if you can see, but I made a dent in there because I was using it so much before I got my Kat Von D, and then again I just forgot about it. So the Kabuki fan brush literally just gets where you need to go. It's perfectly placed, and all you gotta do is just run your brush back and forth, and then your cheeks are chiseled out. Going in with my Maybelline Dream Bouncy Blush. I'm not sure what shade it's in because I've had this for a while, and it's literally almost like liquefied. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to use that, but again, I don't like pinky blushes. Let's see if it'll even pick up on my brush. I don't think it's going to. So that didn't turn out too bad. And then for a highlighter, I'm gonna be using this Temptu Liquid Glow. Not a bad shade. I'm nervous. Oh, it's very subtle. That just made my cheek wet. I don't feel like it made any like shimmer. Maybe it looks shiny, but there's nothing there. It's literally just wet. So I'm gonna go in with my Makeup Revolution Vivid Baked Highlighter. I'm not sure because it's like rubbed off. Yeah. Makeup Revolution Vivid Baked Highlighter Powder in the shade Radiant Lights. So that was my face, and now it's time to go to the eyeshadow. So I have one eye done here. First, to start off, I'm going to be using my RCMA No Color Powder, and I just put it on like in a little container of one of my setting powders, and then I'm just using a little flat brush. Sorry that you can't see my mouth, but I figured you want to see me do my eyeshadow. And this step is so that way if there's any fallout, since we're using color, you can just wipe it away after. So coat the brush and then just put it right under your eye. I'm going to do kind of like a smoked out eye like that, so I'm going to put it that way. So to set my eye, I'm going to be using the Maybelline New York Fit Me concealer in the shade 10 Light, and just putting that right on my lid. I do have slightly oily eyelids, but using concealer and then setting it doesn't really, like, it doesn't run me into any problems. To set my eye, I'm going to be using my E.L.F brush and the RCMA powder. You want to set that quickly so that way the concealer doesn't crease. And the reason why you set it is so that way once you're putting on your eyeshadows, everything can just blend in smoothly without you running into any issues. As mentioned earlier, I'm going to be using my Jaclyn Hill x Morphe palette, and if you do have this palette, instead of me keep going up and down with the palette, I'll be reading the names off of this card So if you have the palette, just take the card with you, and if you're following along, obviously if you're following along, and then you can know what colors I'm using. I'm going to be taking just a fluffy crease brush, taking a Mally brush, and the first shade that I'm going to be using is Silk Cream, and putting that right in my crease. When I get to my outer corner, I flick it out a little bit so that way you can get that. I didn't put tape or anything for that, so. Into Silk Cream twice. It's all about layering your shadows so that way they blend in perfectly. Okay, and then I'm going to be using the shade MFEO and going right over Silk Cream. Like I said, it's all about the layering of the shadows to make it the color that you want it. And then I'm going to be using the shade Creamsicle and also putting that in the crease, but flicking it up rather than putting it directly in the crease. Put it like at the top, so that way it gives it a little bit of definition and you have some other colors in there. The shade Buns, just a little bit of that shade and putting it there as well. Same spot, just flicking it out just to make it a bit darker. I'm going to be taking my Royal and Langnickel detail brush. It looks like this little thing. And I'll be taking the shade Mocha and placing that on my outer corner. Outer corner, and then flicking it out here. Then I'll be taking just a plain brush that has nothing on it to blend that out. And go back into Mocha again and do the same thing until you get your color that you've been wanting. Now I'm going to be taking my Real Techniques accent brush. It looks like this. And I'm going to be digging in the shade Pool Party. It is the bluish, it's like the turquoise color, but it is the sparkly one. And I'm literally going to be putting it on my inner corner, a little bit at the top, and then down at the bottom as well. And you'll see my placement. So I start at the inner corner. Blend it up a little. Make that inner corner pop a little bit more rather than just leave the blue. I'm going to be using the shade Beam and putting that literally just in my inner corner. And then that's what helps you get that pop of color. So now I will be taking the color Enlight and placing that right in the middle of both of these colors. So right here. And then taking that brush that has nothing on it, but it looks like it does. This brush stains because it's white hairs. And then you want to blend everything together. And if you feel like the blue you don't have enough blue, you can go back in and fix it. Just remember that whenever you add more color, you want to go back in and blend. Now for the lower lash line, I'm going to be using my Morphe E36 brush. It is like a pencil brush, like a rounded pencil tip brush. And I'm going to be going back in with the same shades that I used at the top of my eye. And so first I'm going in with Silk Cream. And literally starting from back here, working my way all the way in. And then I'll be taking MFEO, doing the same thing. I'll be going into Creamsicle, and then I'll be going into Mocha, and doing the same thing. And then I'll be going in with my Anastasia brush that came in with my Modern Renaissance, and I'll be using this side to blend everything out. And light, and put that just a little bit, put it again between those two colors. Just a little bit, go back into that brush and blend everything out. Going with my Morphe M438 brush. Looks like this, and just wipe away all of the extra powder. And then for under my brow, I'm going to go in with the shade Beam on just a little E.L.F. concealer brush and pack that on. I do more than I normally do, and then pat it out with my finger, and we're good. For my waterline, I'm going to be using the Kiko Milano Everlasting Kajal eyeliner in the shade 01. It is like almost like a nude, but I'm going to say like a cream color, and just line my waterline. Using this color in your waterline will make your eyes appear bigger. This one doesn't last as long as I would like it to, but it does. It like washes away almost because it is my waterline, so it hits my eye a little bit. And the way that it looks after I close my eyes like repeatedly, I like the look of it. So like this, I have this on here, but because of putting on the makeup and putting on the eyelashes, it tends to rub off a little bit, but I don't mind it. I actually like it. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and do my lashes, and as always, the way I do my lashes is I comb it out first, and then I will use my eyelash curler. For mascara today, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Lash Sensational Luscious Fan Effect in Waterproof. It's like the black one. It's the black one, it's not the normal pink one. And just coat my eyelashes with mascara. While that dries, I'm going to be going in with my Girlactic Beauty Precise eyeliner marker. And when I snap my fingers, my other lashes will be on. For the bottom lash line, I'm using my L'Oreal Voluminous Original. I'm going to be using the NYX Liquid Suede Cream Lipstick in the shade Sandstorm. And last step will be setting my face. I'm going to be using the E.L.F. Makeup Mist and Set. It is with aloe, green tea cucumber, and vitamins A, C, and E. Again, I don't like spraying it over here. I like backing up and spraying it, so I'm going to do that. And in just a few spritz, it literally wets your entire face. I use my Marc Jacobs thing that came with my, I think it's the Omega bronzer, and it works really well to dry everything. Then I take my beauty blender and just pounce everything in. Alright you guys, so that was it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I really did enjoy stepping out of my comfort zone, which I don't do very often, and creating this look. I don't play much with colors, but I've been really wanting to, and so I decided why not sit down and film it. I also really wanted to start playing with the Jaclyn Hill X Morphe palette because it is a great palette and I want to just get more familiar with it. And so I did, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe so you can see more of my videos. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this look, and I will see you in my next video.